This is a video on to demonstrate journaling, debriefing for resilience. And just to remind you, the debriefing for resilience map has 3 parts. First, you mourn whatever conduct, whatever you're debriefing, whatever conduct has occurred that that you're having intrusive thoughts about, and you're feeling, or you're having judgmental thoughts about yourself. You may not yet have gotten to your feelings. So that's the mourning. Then to celebrate something about what you did or the result or what happened, or something that you can celebrate, just because it seems to be important to put in something that you can celebrate. And sometimes that's a very transforming or shifting moment. And then learn, plan, practice, which is now a familiar refrain for you, and I won't emphasize that. So typically you're alerted to the fact that you want to do this exercise, and you can either do it in your own head, or you can journal it, or you can do it with a practice partner. So if you're going to journal it, you're going to record it somehow or another, type it out on a computer in longhand. I think there's some research that suggests, I don't think it's definitive, but if you do it in longhand, you'll have more resilient, more resonance with you, and may be more memorable. But you choose, of course. And typically you start this because you're having intrusive thoughts, or you're having judgmental thoughts about yourself that they keep coming in. And as a technical term, you're feeling shitty, to put a word to it. You're feeling crummy, and that may be the first thing you notice, and then you start paying attention to what you're thinking, and you're having these intrusive judgmental thoughts about yourself, about the other person, about the world, about the state of everything. And but at least you're having judgmental thoughts about yourself. And so you want to debrief, because if you stay in those judgmental thoughts, they're not going to help you do it better next time. The research shows, in my experience, is that they get in the way of doing it better next time, and may actually promote doing exactly in some sort of backhanded way, result, not promote, but result in you doing exactly what you don't want to be doing. And if, self-judging thoughts were the panacea and solved the problem of how we conducted ourselves, we would all be conducting ourselves perfectly, because, we all are very familiar with self-judgmental thoughts. Okay, and generally we start with mourning, because those are the thoughts that are the most intrusive. They're judgmental, and that it's needs not met, and we want to mourn the needs that we did not meet by the conduct. So, but if you're working in a work group, you may start with celebration, so that people will trust what's going on and feel safe, and so on. But generally with yourself, you want to start with mourning. And just sit. Pay attention to how you feel, identify what you're thinking, and try to capture. Now you can capture these throughout the day leading up to when you know you're going to set aside some time to do this, or you can just try to do it all at once. And what are you thinking? What are the thoughts of judgment that you're having about yourself, or about the situation in general, about another person? Just pause. Let the thoughts come up. And with those thoughts held in consciousness, what is the observation under the thought? What are you feeling? What are you needing? And conceivably what request, but that may be a little bit soon. Just be willing to sit with the need not met. That's the mourning part. And at the very least, you may well feel sadness. And then sometimes compassion arises. But again, compassion is not something, none of these feelings are feelings you can call on demand. You can set up the context in which they might arise. But you're mourning here, so likely, you're going to be mourning the difference or the gap between what you had hoped for, what you want for your life, and what you produced. And it's that gap that you're mourning. And when you feel complete with that, when you don't want to just dwell and sink into some sort of depressive sadness to where now you're judging yourself for being this way for the rest of time, and the kind of self-defeating thoughts that lead to depression, because depression is a state that mostly arises out of thinking, though there is also some physical component that you may get into, and it's not just a thinking thing, but typically it starts with thinking. So there's a kind of sadness in this mourning that actually kind of feels good. It's like a relief to just feel sadness and not have all of this cluttering of your mind with judgments. And then you can begin to shift to, okay, celebrate. What is there to celebrate here? What needs did I meet? And sometimes, people have said, I don't have anything. I said, well, can you at least celebrate that you tried to do what you did? And they say, typically, yes. And so, you can celebrate the effort, the desire, however imperfectly delivered or performed, but just that you wanted to do it differently.